Polypede Works here, coming at you once again with One Piece, chapter 1101, entitled Dear Bonnie. So we got a few color related things this week. One Piece was on the cover of Shonen Jump. One Piece has Luffy sporting a very, very cool red coat with Goofy on the arm of the coat, and he's snowboarding. And then Nami and Chomper are skiing. Very cool colors for the cover of Jump. Very excellent. And then we got a color spread of Vegapunk and all his satellites. And I guess this is the first manga color confirmation of Vegapunk and all of his satellites. I know we got that what was it, volume 106, that commercial that was sub by that one VTuber, and we got the colors there. That was a good video, go check that out. But yeah, we see everyone close up here, and York is York continues to be my favorite. I love York. York's great. York is great. Lilith is great. Alice is great. I never liked Edison. Edison's kind of lame because he looks like all the robots around the island, the mechanical sea beasts. He's got the same kind of eyes. That's why I don't like him, because he doesn't seem important enough. And then him and Pythagoras are kind of the same thing. What was it, like knowledge and wisdom or something like that? I don't get their function. York, I need to hear a backstory about, because I think York is very sad. But anyway, Kuma is having a flashback within a flashback in which he is spying on Luffy. And this was 3 years ago when Luffy was 16. So this was before he started the start of his journey. Luffy is practicing Gum Gum Battle Axe, that move he used to defeat Arlong, in which he hoists his leg way up in the air, he stretches it, and then slams it back down his opponent. And as Kuma's watching, he's thinking about what Dragon said. And this is when he deduces that, oh yeah, Luffy is Dragon's son. And Dragon kind of divulges too much in his sort of flashback in a flashback conversation with Kuma. And he says, a child is a parent's weakness. So that's it's kind of interesting, because I think this is, he's 16. I don't know when this flashback in a flashback happened, but it was probably after the fire that was in the Goa Kingdom. But I don't know, because they're all dressed up in cloaks, so I'm not sure. And from the looks of it, they're on that black dragon ship that we saw a few chapters back. Oh yeah, we even see it in the quarter here. So yeah, okay. So yeah, this is when Kuma finds out that Luffy is indeed Dragon's son. He continues to watch Luffy as he practices his moves. And then Luffy says something very funny here. I gotta be ready for when someone tries to take them away. I will ever let that happen, but if anyone tries it, blam! I'll give him Gum Gum Battle Axe to the face. I find it so funny that he's saying this. And the man who's going to do just that, the man who's going to take all his crewmates away, is watching like a hawk. That's so funny. That is so hilarious to me. When I was reading this, rather, I was like, oh, that's very interesting, young man, that he would say that. But yeah, Kuma gets a call and he vanishes. And Luffy just thinks Kuma's some sort of large beast, which he's not wrong. And he continues to train, saying that, there must be some strong opponents on the island, so I gotta get ready. I gotta fight them before I set off when I'm 17. But yeah, Kuma saves some merchants from some ships. I did not see this before. I guess this is a new addition to his ship. He still has Funny Bonnie drawing as his main Jolly Roger, but then above that, he's got his reticle cross. So that is super, which I mean, I guess it would be. It's on the back of his Bible. But yeah, that's super interesting that the reticle cross is a part of his sort of identity in that way. I don't know. I just never thought it would be up there, but yeah, here it is. Super neat, super cool. So yeah, he saves a merchant ship, and this is the first time I think we're seeing a warlord do what the government tells him to, which, I mean, yeah, it's Kuma, of course, he'd be the one to show that. But yeah, no one else really does anything like this, so it's nice to see this actually happen. And of course, he is keeping his promise and sending letters to his little baby Bonnie back home on Sorbet Kingdom. But to her surprise, when she looks in the mailbox, there aren't any letters for her. Very interesting. But Alpha keeps finding them, but when she finds them, she actually tears them up because Alpha is terrible. Alpha, if you remember, is the nurse who is a member of Cypherpole 8. And another bit of a 10 symbolism appears because Alpha says that Kuma sends around 10 a month. So Kuma sends Bonnie around 10 letters a month. I really do wonder why 10 keeps showing up around Bonnie. I don't know, because I just did a video on it, so you should go check that out. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of 10 symbolism. A lot of 10 symbolism surrounding Bonnie. So we'll see where that goes. So yeah, she tears up all the letters that Kuma sends his little baby girl and throws them in the trash. She is a monster. Oh, this is what the Cypherpole have amounted to. Bullying an actual baby. What in the world, dog? Alpha steps in on Gio and Bonnie playing Jenga, but Bonnie is very angry and wants to spar to let out her frustrations and turns into her muscular state, which now it's really interesting that she's 10, right? But like she's got this good of a hold on her abilities to where she could just do this normally. I find that fascinating. She's a quick study, I'll tell you that. But yeah, she quickly transforms back when Alpha comes into the room because they're keeping Bonnie's abilities a secret from Alpha. And I guess this is a lore confirmation. Jenga exists in One Piece universe. Jenga exists. So that's cool. Yeah. I wonder if she does join, will they play Jenga on the ship? I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting. I guess it's time for Alpha to give Bonnie her medicine, but it's not really medicine. It's some sort of Japanese lemonade-like soft drink, or a reference to it. It's called Ramune, Ramune, but it's just a placebo. It's not real medicine. So yeah, they're keeping her devil fruit powers a secret. We flash back to Egghead Island, which is being called Navy Scientist Division Lab 8. And actually, Egghead is coming along. It's starting to look like the city of the future that we see in the current story. This is when Vegapunk gets his head shaved down and he has the weird apple antenna. And he says this is about the time when they're about to hoist the brain and the lab into the cloud. So from that being said, this is when they start the construction of Punk Records. This is This is when they start the construction of Punk Records. Because they're going to hoist the brain up to the clouds and I guess build the weird egg dome on top of it. Or around it, rather. Because it's just that big. That's crazy. We see Stussy, the clone of Miss Bucking, for the first time here. And she's still kind of getting over the fact that she's not like a real human, but she's a real human. And she is having sort of like a philosophical crisis here. Because she's like, well, Kuba, since you're going to have your memories taken away, I wonder which of us is going to be more human, or which of us has the more tragic past. A human without memories, or a clone that didn't really have any to begin with, which is kind of crazy that she's that deep in thought about it, which kind of gives way to the thought of how do the Seraphim think about themselves? Because they have the capacity to think. Looking at S-Snake. So I wonder do they have the same philosophical questions? Or since they're all children, are they all just kind of like goobers and being like, ha ha ha, I can shoot lasers? I don't know. But yeah, that's a very interesting thought. Like, are they as troubled as Stussy here? And Vegapunk just goes on to say that when Kuba finally does have his memories wiped, he would have the capacity to do things like hurt a child, for example. And he is a bit, maybe not, he doesn't seem phased, but I think the love for his own child and trying to get out how he feels is sort of keeping him grounded, as to not think of the horrors that will await him once the transformation into a non-thinking weapon is complete. So yeah, he's just setting his baby love and he keeps writing these letters that Alpha will undoubtedly rip up and throw in the trash like the monster she is. And then it's birthday time, and Bonnie is 9. It is Bonnie's 9th birthday party. Old Lady Connie, Gio, and the rest of the dudes celebrate with her, and they give her a giant pizza, of which she eats happily. And then apparently there's still no letters from Cuba. We know what's happening to them. And we flash back then to Baltigo. And this is where I start to have a problem. Okay, so I guess this is Sabo talking, and he says, Kuma came to the rescue again. Yeah, it's just like all those other times. The revolutionary forces were on the ropes. Then he swooped in to save us at the last minute. After that, he left without saying a word. Brother, the Revolutionary Army is a trash heap and a half. What is going on? You still need Kuma to save you when you are in trouble. Like, as an organization, I don't get them. I think they're all going to fall. Like in that Even Call video I made. Because this is getting silly and ridiculous. Kuma literally is the backbone of the entire organization. Like, you actually need him to provide for you because you're worth nothing without him. That's crazy. You aren't worth a bucket of mud without him. That's insane to me. That's actually insane. What is the purpose of this organization? This organization is trash. Imagine if the Marines needed Aka Inu or Kuzan or Kizaru to do anything. On the back of Kobe Helmeppo and Prince Groose doing what they did on Pirate Island, brother, the revolutionaries are going to fold. You can't go up against anybody. Who are you going to actually fight? That's why Blackbeard ran them out of their home. I hope that's a Blackbeard base now. I hope Baltigo's a Blackbeard base. I hope it is. I hope it is, because they're awful. They're absolutely dreadful. They are a dreadful, terrible organization. How in the world are you depending on Kuma? How do you not have anybody else worth anything? Not Morley, not Bello Betty, not Karasu? Karasu's cool. Karasu looks capable. How is Karasu not pulling his weight? Well, maybe he's not a member at this point. I don't know. Can Lindbergh do stuff? Lindbergh's got like cool freeze guns and stuff. Why isn't he as capable as Kuba? That's just so hard to believe. Morley's a giant, brother. Morley's an actual giant with a good ability. Why isn't he capable? I don't know. It's putting him in a bad light, dog. It's putting him in a bad light. Of course, this is before Sabo has the Flav fruit. So I guess they finally have someone else to rely on now after Even Kov got out of prison, no thanks to Dragon, and Sabo got the Flav fruit. I guess now they're a fighting force that doesn't need Kuba, but goodness gracious, were they in that dire straits that they need Kuba to still fight their battles for them? Insane. How are you going to revolutionize anything or liberate anybody if you still need Kuba? I'm so perplexed by this. And then Dragon says, I'm sure he has his reasons for keeping us in the dark. Whatever, Dragon. Dragon's so lame. And people said, oh, don't call Dragon a fraud. He's not a fraud. I don't know. I would love to see him do something, but yeah, whatever. So going back to the main character, Bonnie discovers she's all better based on the information that she has from talking with Vegapunk a year prior, and Alpha wants to keep her chained up. That's when old lady Connie, Gio, and the boys, Potato and Tots, make up a plan. Their names are Potato and Tots. Like Tater Tots. That's great. That's so good. Potato and Tots. Okay, whatever. Well, yeah, fries go well with pizza, so yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, Connie starts putting two and two together and saying the Alpha's up to no good, and it seems unlikely that Kuma wouldn't send a single letter over a year's time. So they devise a plan to get Bonnie off of the island with Gio, Potato, and Tots. I wonder if Gio's a food pun too. It probably is. So yeah, an old lady is seen leaving the church, and it apparently is Connie, and she's going back to the palace. Ooh. But it's not Connie, it's Bonnie, baby! Disguised as an old woman, and she's all packed up. And she heads out to the port, and the boys, to Gio, Potato, and Tots, have prepared the ship for her. So now we know that the pizza ship was made specifically for her to go out to find Kuma with the boys. That's been her mission, her goal. So that's where she gets the, what's it called? The BONNEY Margarita, I think it's named after her. And they style it to look like a pizza. I think that's so precious and good. Oh, that's so cool. And yeah, she's happy to be outside because this is her first time being outside. She actually gets to look at the sun. And I just find it very interesting. That's the first thing that she chooses to look at the sun. Another Nika-ism. We're about to see another one quite shortly in a moment here. That's when Alpha discovers that she's been had and Connie didn't leave the church at all. And the boys set sail. And the Jolly Roger at this point just looks like a fish, which is also very funny. Alpha uses Moonwalk to go after them. And then we get another flashback. Gio says, oh no, she's flying towards us using the 6 powers. BONNEY flashes back to talking to Kuma. And she says, hey daddy, what did Nika look like? Kuma says, no one knows. BONNEY prepares for the distorted future. Everyone is shocked. Then Kuma says, but they say his body was all rubbery and there's no limit to what he could do in a fight. We get it. Distorted future. Give me a Nika-ish future. Give me a future in which I was Nika. BONNEY gives Alpha a gum gigant pistol. Bruh. How is this possible? She's just she's the most Luffy any woman has been in One Piece. This is insane. This is incredible. How did she because it's not stretching. It's just gigantification, which is still crazy though. And I guess too, from earlier when she gets buff, that's a future in which she becomes a buccaneer because that has to be she's copying Kuma. It's gotta be. That's what the body shape has to be. So she can do gum gigant pistol. She can do a gear third tech. Brother, this is so cool. When I saw this in spoilers, I'm like, okay, how is she not joining? No, how is she not joining? This is the closest it's ever been. How is she not going to join? How is she not going to join? If she's into Nika this much, and then she's reading the paper, she's reading about Luffy in the paper. Because from this point forward, it goes on to her being of the worst generation like Luffy. Because her and the boys sail off to become pirates, and the world government hears word of her exploits. And I guess from this is how she gets her bounty started. Because perhaps Alpha goes back and blabs about it. And she knocks her straight out too. She knocks out a Cypher Pole agent, knocks her straight in the face. So yeah, she is capable. Of course she's capable. She's been on the seas for all this time. So okay, a couple of things. I don't know which one is Potato and which one is Tots, but these two are the guys, like with Gio, that we see at the bar in Shabani Archipelago where she's introduced. So she has named crewmates. That's really cool. But based on what happened with her and Blackbeard, they're probably all dead. Like she ain't got no crew no more. I think that's going to be the tragic part about it. Because she says, I think when they rescue her from the Big Eddie at the start of Egghead Island, I think she says they were all offshore or something. I think they're all dead. I think they are. And she's been on her own all this time. Because it doesn't make sense. She doesn't even have a ship anymore. So that's what I think happened. But bruh, this is I'm sorry. How is she not going to join? Because this is the closest anyone has been to Luffy other than like Oars, who was just Luffy. And the chemistry is popping off well with her, Luffy, and the rest of the crew. It just seems obvious that she will be the 10th. Now, if she is the 10th, and I am correct, if she is the 10th, does this mean she's the last crewmate? We would have to see. I don't think so. I think based on characters like Yamato and potentially Carrot still, because we don't know if Carrot actually went back home. The anime is a little weird on that. We'll have to see. But until Luffy says like, yeah, my crew is complete, which it is interesting in this chapter, the idea of the crew comes up, but not the idea of how many crew members he would have. See, that's the interesting part too, because in the time span of things, that would come before he says, I want 10 men. So if he said, I want about 10 men at that moment when Kuma was spying on him, then I would say, okay, maybe BONNEY could potentially be the last one. But seeing as how that wasn't reiterated, and that hasn't been reiterated for like 20 something years, I think the plan on that could have changed. But we'll see when Bonnie joins, because we just need like dreams and stuff for her to happen. And on that, let's talk about that for a second. So as far as dreams and position go, I think after Kuba arrives at Egghead Island and we get some resolve for Bonnie, I think we're going to have a character change for her in that moment. I think she'll have to resolve as to what she wants to do with her life, which is kind of big for a 12-year-old girl, but okay. I mean, she's, I guess, an adult mentally, based on all the adventures and trials and tribulations and being a wanted criminal on the seas. She's just as much as an adult as anybody else. So she'll have to decide what she wants to do with her life. And I think we're going to get all that resolve after the events of Egghead Island transpire. Especially now being, I guess, held up and put dead to rights by one of the highest powers in the world. Also, I guess the point in keeping Bonnie captured is to keep Kuma under wraps. Because maybe they, for the longest, didn't know how dangerous Kuma would be, even when a sliver of humanity left. So I guess that's why they kept recapturing Bonnie, like when Aki Inu came after Blackbeard captured her. I think that's probably the reason why. Because it's not really about her. It's about keeping Kuma in line and in control, since he's such a valuable asset to the world government. But now, since the surgery is complete, they have gone on with things, and they don't need warlords as a whole anyway, they can just kind of toss him aside. He's not important. And since he's not important, Bonnie's not important. So she too can be murdered because she's not important to the world government anymore. She's not their leverage against Kuma because there's no leverage to be had. The deed has been done. They actually have their own Kuma now in the form of Esper that they could control with the paw fruit and all. So yeah, that's why she's not important. But that, personally, I think that sets her up to join the crew. Because joining the Revolutionary Army doesn't make sense, because I think it would have been more with her and Sabo back when she was in Mary Joas. But seeing as how, first of all, her first introduction was with Zoro. So that was a nail at the very start, that she was introduced with Zoro and protecting Zoro from a Celestial Dragon, also serving as an introductory to Celestial Dragons. That was the start. Okay, then we don't get a whole lot. We get the thing with Sabo, yada, yada, yada. But then to double down, I think, no, we actually get her being introduced with Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei, even before that shot at Mary Joas, if I recall. So then that happens. They establish a relationship. I mean, Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie establish a relationship. Because we know Jinbei can't do that. Because Jinbei is the weirdest written character in this entire series. So of course he can't establish relationships with anyone other than Luffy, I guess, even though he's a crewmate now and he should, but whatever. Anyway, the fact that they have had such good chemistry, Bonnie, Luffy, and Chopper, throughout the entirety of this arc, and then it goes into her having a funny interaction with Sanji. From that point, it's like, okay, she's building up this rapport with more and more crewmates now. This feels like almost a Robin situation, in which technically she was of an enemy faction, but then they got to know her. She doesn't have a crew anymore, apparently, which I don't think she does, because from the looks of things, seeing as how she did this, Bonnie was like the main character in her own story. She was the captain, like legitimately. That wasn't a front. She has been doing all the work. If she can pull out stuff like this, and seeing as how too that buff form seems to be second nature, she could probably do some damage to some enemy pirates, which is why maybe by happenstance and just by, I guess, robbing restaurants or something, she just gained a reputation. I would love to know how her journey was, though. I really would. I really would love to know how her journey went and what she actually did, because I'm still under the impression that she just became a bargaining chip against Kuma. I still see it that way, but maybe she did do some criminal exploits, who's to say? I don't know. But yeah, Bonnie is super interesting. Super duper interesting. I still like her a whole lot. I think she's great. But with that being said, we do have a break next week. We have a break next week, boys. Too bad. So sad. but it makes some sense because this is sort of like the big chapter to end off on. So I don't know if this is the end of the flashback, because this kind of takes us into the present, and I think her dream and then what her position of the crew, if she does join, all that will come after the climax or the falling resolution of this arc concludes. I think after they escape, or after Kuba arrives on Egghead Island and deals with Saturn, potentially. I think that's when all this will be taken care of, because I think she still's got some more character building to go, but this was a big step in the right direction. I do see her joining. I do see there being more development for her after all these events conclude. But with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Crazy chapter, dog. BONNEY can become NIKA in a way. That's insane. But I wonder now, who else knows about NIKA's rubber body? Because if Jinbei knows, I have no words if Jinbei knows. But if she knows that about NIKA, I wonder, did she put 2 and 2 together about Luffy yet? I wonder. Okay, I'm done. Give me your thoughts, guys. This is a great chapter. Great chapter. Of course, you know, more videos coming from me over the course of the week that we were on break. But yeah, that's actually it. See you guys next time.